maltreated. Okay, we also think about the African, I don't think when you think about Africa, Africa is different from Black America. A lot of big difference. So we think about the Africans. Are we racially abused? Are we racially maltreated? We think about, I classify Australia as an Asian country too. We think other our neighboring country, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam. How are they treated? How are people treated in China? Okay, I came across a lady which I know very well, but I tried to keep quiet because she went to what do they call a citizen forum. She spoke about Nigerians in Indonesia. I know the lady very well. Her name is Asa. I know her very well, and she spoke about Nigerians, how she tried to advocate for Nigerians in Indonesia, and what went wrong, and how some of these people are breaking the laws. She said a lot of things about the people here, Nigerians. So some people actually go around, abusing her and saying all sorts of things. But here we just wanted to be honest with you guys. Our day, I've been to many Asian countries. I've been traveling now for almost 15 years, almost 16 years. So I left Nigeria when I was so young. I've traveled so many countries. So guys, so we have to tell you guys, if you haven't traveled before out of Nigeria, you have to pay real attention. Also, you should not be confused between somebody dislike you and somebody being racist. Because even I can see somebody I may dislike, that I'm racist against him. So we should just be careful with those words, So Ambassador Jeff, let's come to this. Let's start with our home. We start with here, Australia, where we are now, before we brother everything down there. So, Jeff, is Australia a racist country? What do you think about
Before I go, I have to give the respect to the traditional owner of the land, both past and present.
Yeah. Aboriginal.
You see, racism is it's not a singular term. It's plural. Before you address racism, you have to address yourself, where you stand. You see, Australia is a multicultural nation that gives room to everybody to excel. Before then, there were people occupying the land before the white colonies arrived here. According to history, there are a lot of history written about the indigenous people. According to history, about 750,000 people were originally here, and about 700,000 of them were slaughtered. Just they keep coming, and there were about 75,000 people left. That's according to the books I've read so far. I'm not sure if that was the real figure. So a lot of people were massacred. Colonialism is about occupying your land, and they will do a lot of things. So far, so good. To this present day, these people are still being discriminated against. If you take Queensland, for example, the Aboriginals or the indigenous people living down there, some of them doesn't still have a citizen right. They are scared to report their deaths so that they will not take their children away from them. So as a result of them, you see, there was a news that was circulating about 6-7 months ago that some were looking for a place to be deported to, and they were actually these citizens of this country. If you can't prove your state of origin, you might likely be detained. They don't care where you come from. So a lot of people have been to court to prove their citizenship. Those that cannot prove it probably be detained. So in Queensland, if you go to the Human Service or Child Protection, who have been found liable for misinformation, the misinformation in New South Wales alone, now they are trying to do reconciliation. A child you have not been with for about 6 years, 7 years, have been now being reconciling with their parents, because at birth, right from their vagina, they just they go and write a little bit of information that said either the mom was a drunkard or is is a crack or whatever, abuser, cannabis or whatever, they will write so many stories there. Once you write those kind of story against somebody, and the person on the other end thought you actually caught them right-handed, and they will take your kid away from you. That's a complete abuse of racial discrimination without giving period notice. They just get it. It's this kind of things is still existing in this country. So far, I've done a lot of research because, as you guys know, I'm a criminologist, so that's what I'm studying. I did a lot of research to find out where these people in this country are standing. So racism is plural. It comprises of everyone that is here. Everyone. As a black man, one way or the other, you will be racially discriminated, whether you like either at work or inside the train or inside the supermarket, and somewhere along the line, you're gonna come across it. We've come a long way now. Sometimes I don't let them those kind of things bother me anymore. Even at work, sometimes they give you shift and they will cancel it and give to their people, and they give you a freezing excuse. So just to make sure you don't achieve your set of plans or goals. So racism is real. It's more or less like the COVID-19. The only difference is that it doesn't kill, but it can put you into depression. It can keep you, possibly it might kill people. Some people who can't take it like we can commit suicide. So because it's been discriminated against. So there's so many issues, but it doesn't kill like COVID-19 that once it affects you, if you don't get a proper treatment, you die. That's the only difference about it, because COVID-19 is a disease, but this one is a human phenomenon that can lead you to depression, to so many things can exist. People commit suicide and all that stuff. So racism is real. It's in everywhere. Being a black man doesn't mean we can't discriminate against ourselves. We do. If we take Nigeria as a country, for example, we do things along tribal line. To me, that is racism. It's ethnical division. Once you divide yourself, there are some places I will go to now. You see the Yoruba is there, the Igbo will be there, the Edo will be there. Everybody starts speaking their own language just to cheat. Most of the time you see your fellow Nigerian standing with you. You know he doesn't understand your language. You keep saying it. That means you are trying to hide something from him. I remember back in the days I was in South Africa, and the guy called me on the phone and asked me Onyeneku. And I said, "Come on, bro. You are the one that called me and you are asking me Onyeneku. Onyeneku based on what? You called me and Onyeneku. And who are you?" I begin to wonder. I said, "You called me and I don't understand that language." So you see, we have our own kind of sentiment. If you go to America, it's worse. The Black American doesn't want to see Black Africans.
Yeah, we'll come to that. We'll come to that.
Go back to your forest.
Yes. We'll come to that.
Go back to your forest, but Black life matters.
Yes,
Everybody is in the Black card. It's good to protest against the killings of the human soul. Everybody life matters. Our life matters. And then that's because of the Black. But we condemn it to the fullness because it involved taking a soul. Indiscriminate police brutality. It happened in my country all the time. That is racism.
Yeah, racism is, like you said, racism is something that I think we need to give racism more attention than any other thing. Because when you come across a lot of people, when they messed up or when they act ignorantly, you ask them why. At the end of the day, you find out what motivates them is racism. They may tell you that these people don't deserve it. Why are you empathizing with them, bro? If you go to their place, see how they treat our people, you'll be shocked how far racism, we actually think that's why, to me, racism is more than murderer. Anybody that's been, that practice such a thing, I like to associate myself with such a thing. If you come across a lot of people in a very foreign countries, you will find the same thing. Like here we are saying in Australia, I was a bit ignorant until when I attend some of the Aboriginal rallies. So I've heard some of them speak, I was so shocked. What happened? But you also think yourself is there any way we can move ahead? I don't know. It's very hard. The government of Australia have tried so many, skills, so many ways to introduce laws that, any racial discrimination, you have to face the justice system, They try to protect people, but people still practice this inwardly, you
Yes,
know?
I can tell you before, a friend of mine, like I did say it in this program before. A friend of mine is an ambassador for peace as well.
Mm,
He was discriminated against because he went to the rally.
mm,
The landlord cut off the Skype, cut off the telephone, almost gonna lock off the water because he went for Black Lives Matters. So the landlord was going to forcefully evict him. He came
mm,
here, abused the hell out of this guy in St. Kitts. The case is still under investigation by the police. Who knows how long they're going to investigate it? But the question is, this man has just crossed the line. That thing's supposed to go on the headline, you know.
mm.
So it's on YouTube, you know. But the fact is, let me take you back to Indonesia.
Mm.
I was in Indonesia 1996, 97.
Okay.
The first time we arrived in Indonesia, it was very good. To be frank, as I say with you,
Yeah, I'll come in there, yeah.
they were very, very friendly. They
Mm-hmm.
see us like alien.
Mm-hmm.
They never see so clean black before. Apart from the Americans, sometimes they meet them. But when we came, you see a lot of huge crowds were going with us. All of a sudden, things begin to change. So many things begin to happen that you hear that is police shot somebody dead on the other end, police shot this person down on the other end. So
Are you guys feeling love?
Yeah. So the last they did before I left that country was dehumanizing. They shot this guy, he was driving. They shot him and put semolina on his mouth and call it drug. Just because they don't like you. The guy was having an affair with somebody, with a girl, so nobody knew the truth. But the people that found out what happened was actually saying this guy was not a drug dealer, but it was just shot on a cold blood. Driving, was shot right here. Through the glass. He was just driving on the traffic light when he was shot. You know? And the police shoved that into his mouth to say he was going to swallow the drug. How would you swallow the drug when you know you're still going to die? You know, so many things transpired. People were shot on their sleep when they were sleeping. They burst into the house to just shoot everybody in the bed. So people died without even knowing why they were killed. You know, because of hatred. So I'm not disputing that there's a few idiots do all those kind of business there.
Yeah, you said you want to come in?
The people that died are innocent. So coming back here to Australia.
Since you say that Australia is a multicultural country, so which people in particular are practicing racism? Because it seems like everyone is the same, and English is their main language there. There is no like a particular language.
Just a minute.
Okay.
Okay, Lawube, you can answer the question. There is no like a particular language. Unlike here, we have Zulu, Xhosa, and there you people speak only English, so everyone seems to be one. Which people in particular?
To me, race. Racism, like like when we talk about racist here, we are talking about mostly Caucasians. Okay, we have a big run with other Asians. We know that. To me, how they say China wants to have the world power, and then I'm so scared of China having the world power. When you talk about racism, you talk about the Caucasian, which is the white himself. a lot of white here, they wanted to change. Like mostly the new generation want to change. But the other ones, they try somehow to show their racist character. You know, this is something that can be indirectly, maybe by work, where you work, like I just said, they will try to drag things out from you. Or maybe if you're playing football, when you come to football, you know that airfare.
Can I answer that question on the screen?
Okay, you go on. Go on, go on. Yeah.
So there's All Stars Brett Woodford said, can you give example of racism witnessed towards the Aboriginal in New South Wales and South Australia? Now, like I said before in the beginning, according to research done here, if you go to human services, um, in New South Wales and check the record, you discover that a lot of people have been sidelined, their kids being taken away from them simply because they call them alcoholic. They just give them a fleeting excuse. But right now they are trying to reconcile all these children back because the you know how we here in Australia as a Nigerian, we have a body like the statue of Victoria. The Aboriginal also have the indigenous community. They have a leader. So when they were doing all these things, their leaders were not communicated to. In most cases, the women are not even aware. Their husbands are not even aware. But because they want to collect these kids from them, they just go and do it. In bed, the hospitals, they can come to your home and collect your kids and write a letter and say, you are a drug addict. You can't look after a kid, your children nicely. So as a result, they take your kids from you. That is the discrimination against the Aboriginals or the indigenous Australian and New South Wales. So the record are there to find. You can Google it and check through the Human Services or Child Protection. You will discover that they are now trying to reconcile the children back. Some of the kids are already 7 years old. Some are 15, some are 8, some are 9. See, these kids have not actually met their parents. So they are now trying to reconcile them together. You know how it's going to take long for you don't know your parents. It's more like you become a foster kid. Coming back to your parents now, it's okay, this is your father, a man or a woman that you have not met you didn't even grow to know for 6 or 7, 8 years or 10 years. They find it difficult to readjust, you know. So it's a big issue in the New South Wales child protection, and it's the record out there. So it's not like we're making it out.
Mr. Jeff, I was so worried when they have the outbreak of some of, maybe let me just use it, most of them background Sudanese and Somalian, all those African guys. The way they are African Australian, the way they tag them, the way the media tag these people, African gang and all those things, you see the stigma. You just, okay, yeah, I'm just, okay, you go for it, yeah, okay. You live in Melbourne.
I become an ambassador for peace because of these issues we just talked about. So we talk about the African gang. They call them the APES.
I will present one of them. They have like 6. Somebody sent to me 6 when I present this program. Somebody sent about 6 gangs to me and said I should talk about them too.
Yeah, the Islanders as well. I forgot the name they call these people. I did a research on him. I happen to stand for the black voice. I defended the Sudanese most of the time because, one, if you are a basketballer, you are an Australian, you are a black Australian. If you are a footballer, you are a black Australian. But when something go wrong, it becomes South Sudan, it becomes Somalia. You can remember there was a time the Somalia have issue with the nuclear power plant some times ago, and they were all arrested and jailed up. That was the first issue that came here before this gang of a thing. I wouldn't blame these people. Sometimes, you see, the issue is connected between the government and the people they brought in from Africa. Now, you brought these Sudanese people in from South Sudan. Their parents have these kids right here in Australia. They ought to be called Australian or black Australian. That is what they want. They don't want to hear that word black Australian. So they will refer them as South Sudan or Sudanese, But the question here is, they brought these kids here. They are already traumatized about the war zone they're coming from. You can't expect them to just adjust. Immediately you just brought them here. All they give to them is only 500 hours of English studies, and they tell you to go and look for work. They'll just bring them here and tell you, here's an apartment, here's the fridge, this is the key, this is the way to Central Link, go and register. That's it. And tell them, we can sponsor you for 500 words, 500 hours to go and learn English. How many people are going to learn English language in 500 hours? English is something you learn from birth. So to practice it, 500 hours can never make you understand it. So in between, these people can't find a job. They don't have the education. They don't have the technical ability to express themselves because their English is not sound. Two, they have the temperament. They're easily agitated. They get angry because when they're trying to explain themselves and you are not understanding them, they get angry. Because they tell them, oh, get to Australia. Australia is the heaven. Once you are here, whatever you want, you get it. At the time they arrive here, a lot of these people fall by the wayside. They could not take it. So you rely on $400 a fortnight on income, can't pay rent. A lot of people start committing crime. Secondly, their parents don't speak English. And most of the kids that are born here can understand. They speak English perfectly, some of them. Some of the Sudanese are very, very educated. Trust me. They have master, they have doctorate degree. Some of them. But the bad egg among them that is giving us all the bad name are those that depend on Centrelink. They don't want to work. But because the government did not give them enough foundation, they crash landed.
But
that is why you see Apex gang, then they start hijacking cars. Hijacking cars, if you don't have a buyer or you don't have a motivator, all those crimes cannot be committed. You go hijack a car, somebody's going to buy it from you. So that is where the police came in. But the media blow it out of proportion as well. It was less than 1% of the entire black people or the Sudanese community that were committing this offense. But if you go to the Vietnamese community, the white community, you discover that they did not make a fraction. But China 7 blow everything out of proportion.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Make it as if it was the sky falling down on all of us.
Even today, especially one of the ministers was saying that Melbourne, you cannot go to Melbourne at night because you'll be attacked by African gangs.
We don't say minister. We always mention his name. It's Peter Dutton, the immigration minister, who said people can no longer go to restaurants.
For security.
Yeah, we have to. The name is everywhere. It's on the newspaper.
Yeah.
He said that the people can no longer go to a restaurant at night because of the
at night in Melbourne because of African gangs.
Because it was a bluntly lie because our premier here, Andrew, kicked against it. It never supported his idea. The commissioner of police here said it was a lie.
Yeah.
You can't be in Canberra or in Queensland dictating for Melbournians.
The Melbournians, what is happening? Yeah.
Just to hype it. It's just to give it a very bad name. He hype it.
Yeah, they're just making it like it's only Africans that commit.
They wanted to sell a newspaper, so they create what we call panicking in the media. So in the media, there's what we call panicking. So people feel the panic and everybody rushing to buy the newspaper. People now say, oh, black here, black there, black here, black there.
All television, I was so I actually start thinking about myself, but I'll probably go to Melbourne and engage with some of these guys and see what is going on. Because what they are calling is like petty, petty stealing.
You see, brother, I have worked extensively with the police in this country. I've been to the commissioner. I've met with Crispy, the commissioner of police or assistant commissioner of police. I've met with the commissioner engagement of the community engagement officer, who is also retired at the moment. I met with Superintendent what's his name? I forgot. Abati. I met with all big hierarchy in the police force here. I've had a meeting with the Sunshine Police, with the inspector in charge of the Sunshine Police, Mr. David.
If you're here, if you want it, you can help us to share too. You can share so that people can get more in depth about Australia.
Just to make sure the Africans come together and create that unity. Because remember this, whenever I see a black man, it's an African, whether you are Sudanese, Somalia, Nigeria, Kenya, Mozambique, Zimbabwe, South Africa, Namibia, Angola, or Seychelles, or you go to Western Sahara, Morocco, wherever you come from, as long as you are black, you are an African. So I take it upon myself to say, stop the fight. I raised a placard at that time. That aimed me at the ambassadorship. So a lot of people thought maybe I bought it. I work extensively for it. So because of the COVID-19, everything kind of died off, you know. So sometimes people say COVID-19 is a disaster. Sometimes it's also good. Somewhere around. So all these criminal gangs that were just moving around the street are not finding it right to sit in their home. We don't hear about them anymore because they're scared to die.
I can't see you. I can't see your cam. If I can see your cam, I will let you in, Lisa. It's still dark. Okay. Okay, guys, while we are doing this, we have another guy inside this thing. It's one of us again. We welcome Lisa to us. While we discuss today about racism, guys, make Lisa welcome. Hi, Lisa. Everybody, you're looking good. Can you hear us?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, we have Ambassador Jeff here. Yeah. And then we have Cythia. What? The one on top is Ambassador Jeff. And the one down is Cythia. Okay. And I myself. Thank you, Lisa, for joining us.
Welcome.
So how are you? Yeah.
Doing well. Doing well.
So we are just discussing about racism in Australia, if Australia is still racist and things like that, you know. So you talked about.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, you talked about.
I can hear you very well.
Yeah, okay, me, I can hear you too. You talked about the one in New South Wales. You know, if you can elaborate on that one, we'll be very happy to, Lisa.
Yeah. Okay. I'm doing well.
Okay.
I think there's a bit of a delay between us.
No, it's okay. We can hear you clearly.
Okay, we can hear you clearly. If you can go on, yeah. Just yeah.
We can hear you clearly.
Can you hear us?
Yeah. Can you hear me when I speak?
Yeah, I can hear you.
We can hear you clearly.
Okay.
So you said, can you tell us more about the one you saw in New South Wales, and so we can. I will get to Lisa. Why Lisa?
Mike, I think he's trying to fix his mic. Yeah.
Yeah, let Lisa see. So, what I'm saying is, like, you know, the way they make this. Can you hear now? Hello. You don't have volume, Lisa. You don't have volume. You don't have volume.
The mic is not on.
Your mic is not on, so you gotta put it on.
I'm ready. I will get you to fix it. Get the mic going. Then we'll bring you in. Okay.
Yeah, we can continue while he's trying to fix his volume on the.
You don't have volume. You don't have volume.
Yeah, because.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Mic. The first column is mic. Just on target. It will work.
I'll get you to
unmute it.
Yeah, mute that one.
Okay. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, it's clear now.
Yeah, clear.
Okay, great. Okay. Nice.